I've been scouring Instagram and eBay looking for the right gauges. I'm putting a set of gauges in this old dash, but we're going to get it cleaned up, we're going to paint it, and we're going to drop in these cool Stewart Warners right in that dash. Let's go. Alright guys, got my gauges. Put together a little set here so that I could make this work right. The stock gauge is bolted in from the back on these. 32 was the only year that had the tunnel that ran to the firewall. So 33 and 34 screwed in from the back, but they are not big enough. Little bitty gauges. This was before they had the standard gauge size like you see today. So even the smaller gauges on the side are little. These probably would have been double gauges, like fuel and oil and water temperature and amps. But I've got a set of this style, 2 1/8, and the 3 3/8 speedometer I'm gonna put in here, so I'm gonna have to open those holes up in order to get them in there. So let's get it. I have to pull this steering column out first. It needs to come out anyway because we're going to have to end up cutting that steering wheel off there. So there's no way to pull that. The holes are here almost closed up, and I honestly don't think they had any threads in them. So I'm going to end up having to cut that and try to put a puller on it and see if I can get it off. You want that one? That bolt fell down on the cow. Well, luckily it was just right there. I thought it was gone forever. Okay, that's good. Now we just need to we'll end up cleaning this dash up, primering it, and we'll paint it black so it'll look pretty good in here. We'll paint it gloss black, make it look nice like licorice. Alright, one more. Let's see. Hopefully that'll sit there. Hope I don't have to take the A-pillar trim off. There we go. Good. Might have to in order to get it back in there to keep from scuffing the paint. But there you go. There's the dash. That's got a little rust spot right in there, but I think we can slick that up. Still got original old black paint on the back. There's a couple of small areas that need to be addressed. There's an extra hole here. That hole's kind of chewed up. There's a crack right there. So we'll get that thing cleaned up and get it primered. But we need to open these holes up for these gauges, so let's do that. First things first, we're going to have to wire wheel this thing. So I think I'm going to take it out on the driveway and see if I can bust all that off of there. Well, that's better. A little bit. Probably gonna have to hit it with the sander now. See if we can knock some of that edge off of there. Still got a little bit of junk to it. I need to knock that switch out. I went ahead and cut the holders for the gauges off. Knock them off. Won't be needing those, so that'll make it for a little bit easier way to open that up. I'm probably going to end up grinding the tops of these. If you can see it, this outside was actually punched and folded over a bracket. See the little bracket in there, the little flange? That's what held the gauges in. So it's pinched over it. I'll probably just grind these flat down to that bracket piece and those will just come right off. I think that'll work. Let's just do it real quick. Oop, something there. I already got stuck by the wire wheel. It almost caught me in the leg. Over in the knee. Oh, yeah. There's one sticking out underneath. Those things, they'll let the wires loose. That'll pop off. Maybe not. There it is. Got it. That'll help quite a bit. When we're cutting that out. Let's do the other two. Done. See it? Got them all split. Now we can get these ready to mark for the gauges. And then that'll make it a whole lot easier to trim out. Good. I think about to fly off there. There's that. That's done. Okie dokie. Trying to figure out how to get the right size hole for these gauges, and I remembered it's a little big, but I got this, which is a Stewart Warner gauge cluster navigator, maybe? I can't remember. They had several different gauge panels, and this is the insert from one, so I'm going to use it to mark my holes. $41.25. It's 28. 25/8. Do that right there. We'll center that up with the hole up there. Came in handy. Cool, man. That one is done. Headphones coming on. Got my line marked. Got my blade in. Let's test it. Yeah. Then we can lock that blade if we need to. Let's try it and see what it does. Okay, that's not going to work because that hole is way too tight for the width of that blade. That blade's just too thick. It's like probably 7/16. So I'm going to grind the back of it off, make it a little thinner. That'll allow that blade to turn that radius a little more. Try that. Oh yeah. Just need to put my little detent at the very bottom. That's gonna look awesome. Heck yeah, guys. There we go. After sanding it all down, it's still got a little bit of rust on it. I've got some rust converter I'm gonna spray on it, and that'll convert that rust. It'll kill it. We lost our local sandblaster. Hell, not lost, but he retired. So I don't have any place to really take any stuff to go get blasted unless I drive to Tulsa, which is at least 45 minutes. So that trip would end up costing me about 3 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in this hole, weld up that crack where it was at right there. And then I'm going to put a little filler. There's a little spot right here in the dash that's got a little bit of pitting. See it right in there? It's just got a little heavy pitting right in there where something laid on it or somehow it got rust. And then I'm going to fill that, and there's a little ding right there that I tried to knock out. And it's a booger. So do a little filler there, sand that off. Do a little filler there, sand that off. I'm gonna primer and paint it. Load up some gauges. Oh yeah. All right, I got this all cleaned up. Just need to wipe it down a little bit. Without sandblasting it, I've got almost all the rust off of it. What we're gonna end up using is this Rust Fix by Duplicolor. What it'll do is it'll convert the rust to black. So I'm going to shoot this front and back. Back's pretty clean enough to be in underneath the dash anyway. So I'm going to shoot this with this Rust Fix and give it a good coat before I put any filler in on that little spot, that little ding, and that little spot right there that I smoothed out. So let's get this thing sprayed. I could take this thing to the body shop and have them do it, but body shops usually don't like doing this kind of stuff, so they like replacing fenders out of a box. So with that budget in mind, we're gonna just do this. Later on, if I decide I want to close the door. Later on, if I decide I want to redo this, I can take it and get it sandblasted from Tulsa and have it done, no problem. So this is supposed to turn black once it sets up. Hopefully it will. We shall see. All right. We'll let it dry and we'll come back. All right, it's been setting and drying for about an hour. You can see that stuff has converted all the rust. It's kind of a clear when it goes on. But you can see, like right there's a kind of a run. It almost looks like thinned out Sharpie ink. But the whole thing is kind of like that. You can see even the back. Let's see, get around here this way. You can see the back. It cleaned it up really well. Converted it all. That was rusty back there, now it's not. So that's good. We'll let it sit and cure up a little bit more. And then we'll put a little filler on that little spot where all those pits are. You can kind of see them right there. Time for some filler action. Let's see if this Z-grip is any good. Let's see. Been a minute since I used this stuff. I don't like using filler. I don't like doing body work at all, that's for sure. There we go. I think we're going to have to mix it up for old show. Oh yeah, it's still good. It smells good too. Love the smell of filler in the morning. Oh yeah, there's all the good stuff down there at the bottom. Okay. A little bit of hardener in there, probably too much, because I usually put too much in there. Not on purpose, but just because I don't do this stuff often enough. And I'm just not good at it. Don't want to be good at it neither, if that makes sense. I don't know how long that stuff's good for, but it is setting up, so that's good. We can smooth all that out. I'm going to go ahead and dig out that screw hole there while it's semi-soft. I'm making a small gauge pod for my amp and my fuel down below here. I've already got a piece. This is a little heavier than 16 gauge. That's 16 gauge. I think it's a little thicker. Yeah, slightly thicker, not much. It's probably a 14 maybe. So I want something a little bit substantial so it doesn't feel like it's going to fall off there. So I've already lined it all out. I've already drilled a couple of holes, so let's knock this sucker out. It's going to mount right there on the right below that and hang down, and it'll have my key switch and amp and fuel. I can just go ahead and start knocking this sucker out. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting that and just shaping it. Probably need to go ahead and pop those holes in there. That way if they do get off, I can readjust it. There it is. Got a little cool shape to it. Give it a little life so it's just not square. I rounded off that bottom edge there, and it should look pretty good. Mark that. I'm gonna mark that upper. The upper arc there. So it looks like I'm gonna have to trim these corners off because they're just not high enough. It needs to come on up. I've already got a center line in here. I've got a center line on my dash. And I've got a mark on there that I don't want to, on the side, all the way across, that I don't want to go past. So it's going to be there. It's going to be right there. There we go. I got a lot of lines on there, but you can see my arc there. I'm going to cut that off, that way they'll fit right up on there, this trimmer. There you go. I don't know if you can see that, but see if we can get it up there. It'll sit just like that. Boom. Okay, so now I don't want that little ear on there. I just eyeballed that shape, so I need to find another shape to make that work. And that's going to be my shape right there. Perfect. There you go. There's the shape. Oh, yeah. That was awesome. Okay. Want some sauce. Just need to mark where that detent is. There you go. It's getting there. We'll open up that other one and we'll go ahead and drill out for the T-switch. This is getting exciting. It's kind of neat to see. I'll show you what we started at. That was my drawing I did on an Illustrator. And there it is. Looks just like it. So far, it looks just like it. We'll get this other one cleared out for the gauge, and we should be pretty close to good to go to make the rest of the housing. I kind of have a way of, I figured out that I want to secure it, and I'm going to put 2 bolts into the bottom, and then it's going to have a flange on the back that's going to bolt through the back, so not to the outside but through the back of that. So should look pretty good. Oh yeah, we are looking good now. Maybe. Okay. That one only goes so far. I thought that little nut right there on there would go all the way down over the threads, but it just stops at a certain point where it's flush. Which will look awesome. Oh yeah. There's what it's going to look like, guys. I don't have another gauge, so just have to pretend. There you go. That'll look good. Alright, so now I'm going to make this basically like an old Ilco cluster or underdash panel. So I'm going to make it about 1 inch wide. I'm cutting a 1 inch strip off of this that I can lay in here and tack in until I get it shaped all the way. That'll give it some structure, some rigidity, and it's kind of thick material. Got that little brace welded on there. Looks pretty good. Now I just need to make the outside strip, put it on there, and it's still hot. And it'll be pretty close to being done. We'll smooth out this Bondo filler. I already started on that one a little bit. Smooth that one out and get this thing painted. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack this ever so often and get it on there pretty straight and 90 degrees if I can hold it. And then I'll go back over it later and finish all the tacks. Fill it all in. So there's what I've done. So now all I have to do is just that little hole in my glove. Oh. Anyway, so what I have to do now is just shape this to match that edge all the way down through there, and I can just run it right around my hand. That edge, see what I'm doing? You can see the inside there, but I'm just keeping the edge of that metal the same distance as I pull it around and then tack it. Fill in the gap. There you go. The edge looks nice and sharp. Not real sharp, but I beveled it just a little bit, put a little chamfer on it. This is by no means going to be show quality. Like I said, I hate doing this. This is about as much as I want to do ever. Something I did learn that I can teach you guys though, even though I'm not a body shop guy. You want to see if it's smooth when you're sanding. Take a rag, stick it on there and feel it. A rag will make it, you can feel everything. And feel right in there. Right there's a little spot. But I think that might be in the middle. We'll see if we try to sand it down a little bit. There it is. Gotta get the I'm gonna give that a satin black. because the rest of the panel truck is kind of old lacquer. So it's kind of got kind of a dull finish, but it's not flat and it's not glossy. So hopefully satin will work. If not, I can scuff it, shoot it with gloss black later on. The Rust-Oleum didn't cut the mustard, so I'm breaking out my secret weapon. Duplicolor engine paint. This stuff is the freaking bomb. It'll spray over oil, dirt, everything, and set up in like 10 minutes. So I'm gonna shoot it with some semi-gloss to kind of make it match the panel truck back there. I got the panel truck moved over, so I'm gonna reshoot these. The primer just kind of balled up. I didn't realize it. It had kind of set up real gritty looking, and then when I shot the black over it, you could really see it looked like it had dirt all under it. So I wet sanded it, slicked it all off, wet sanded that one, and now it's getting the engine paint. Hopefully this will do better. If it reacts, it's all going to the blaster. So far so good. That looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty good. The pod's already dried. Oh yeah, that's gonna look good. I just realized the bezel on my fuel is almost a smooth bezel, or my amp is the little step bezel, but it'll be alright. I'll survive. I will learn to love it. And there we go, guys. What do you think? Pretty killer. That old black paint matches that old lacquer that's on the panel truck, and that looks really awesome. All right, I'm letting the dash bake out in the sun. I'll go get it, and we'll start dropping some gauges in it. Hang around. Panel truck just right. It is not body shop quality, because this ain't no body shop, but this is perfect for that panel truck. Let's get the gauges in there. One more, y'all. Oh yeah. There you go, guys. What do you think? Looks perfect, doesn't it? Now it's time to get it in that dash with that crappy old steering column. Oh, slide to fall. Let's see what this looks like. Gosh, that's so cool. Man, that looks great. I'll probably search for another oil pressure because that one's a little yellowed. And I'll just swap it out later on, but that was the nicest one I had that was mechanical. Alright, I'll pop those gauges back out, put them bolts up in there. You can see it's super tight in there. So, when I was bolting it up before, I had the nuts on the bottom side, but that was just too, just because the gauges weren't in there. Now, I get to see if this will go in. Man, that looks so awesome. You guys ready to see it up close? I still need to tighten it up a little bit, so I'll do that off camera later on. But and I think probably what I might do, that's a little flimsy, so I may run a brace from the center of this over to the firewall. And I can do that pretty easily. But let's take a look at it. Bam! Look at that, y'all. That looks friggin' awesome. Got the gauges all in there. There's my dash light. You got a push button for the starter. And there's the key switch. Man. Get that steering wheel in there. That'll be another video. We'll pull the column apart and we'll get it all painted up. Probably paint it just like the dash and just match it. And not use Rust-Oleum from the beginning. I'll just use the Duplicolor engine paint. I'll use the primer and the semi-gloss black or the satin black. And that way we don't have any problems. But that looks pretty rad. I'm digging that a whole lot. Man, thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions or any comments. We'll see you later.